Hey my legends, Explosive Arrow is a very fun build to play. It's very beginner friendly and it will be very fun just to maybe go over the basics of this build. I was able to play this build from around about level 45, getting the unique helmet. I was able to play this build in the campaign, so very beginner friendly. As you can see, the damage is nice, the area of effect is good, the clear is good, speed is good, so it's very fun to play. Without further ado, let's get over it. Okay, so first and foremost, you will need to get this unique helmet. It's called the Three Dragons Solid Mask. Without this helmet, the build doesn't really function as intended, and it's way more one-button friendly if you have this helmet. So go onto the trade site, you should find it fairly easily. It's very widely available. First, get this mask up and running before you want to use this build. As soon as I hit 45, I transitioned into this build in the campaign. I just carried on with the build right through and never looked back since. Going over to the important part of our gear, of course we will be using a crossbow because we're going to be using explosive shots and shock burst rounds. The main stat you look on for your crossbow, you can use a single crossbow whichever has the most physical damage. So you look for plus physical damage percentage and plus physical damage. If you do have a very good one that you don't think you're going to upgrade anytime soon, put on 2 physical damage gems on there. It's just going to be a lot more damage and easier to clear the whole room. For your gear, you will of course be using any standard gear that you get, which is good. Any resistances on all your gear. Look for evasion rating and energy shield. And of course, the most important thing, especially early game, is what you're going to need, is you're going to need spirit. So in the beginning, you need to get 60 spirit as soon as possible. There'll be 2 heralds you use for the early game, which will be the Herald of Thunder and the Herald of Ice. So over to our skills. Our main attack is going to be Explosive Shot. So what happens with Explosive Shot, thanks to the legendary helmet, it's going to change our fire damage to shock. Now, when you shock an enemy, especially a tanky enemy such as a high health elite or of course bosses, it's going to enable your shock burst rounds to do a lot more damage. So your first support gem will be a scatter shot, a lot more area clear, which is great. Conduction, which lets you shock much sooner, in allowing your shock burst rounds to delete bosses and elites. And the third one you can have is martial tempo, so that you have more attack speed. Our secondary skill, which will be our main DPS for single target, elites and bosses only. You will not use this for clearing of trash. This will be dishing out a lot of damage, but you have to get the boss to be shocked. So you will just look on the icon just below the HP of your boss or your elite. You'll see the little lightning bolt with 20%. You will know he's shocked, and then you can just switch over and wham him with this skill. As for our support gems, you're using concentrated effect, more damage. You don't need to worry about area effect. This is single target related. Primal Armanen, Armamt. I can't read. You need the primal gem, 25% more elemental damage, which is great, and lightning infusion. Very good to have. As I say, for your early games, your 2 heralds, you need 60 spirit and have them toggle the aura on. Herald of Thunder is freezing, and when you freeze an enemy and kill him, then obviously Herald of Ice is exploding and doing the shatter damage. So that is how they are working in conjunction with one another. As for our support gems on the Herald of Thunder, you can use Ice Bite, Innovate, and Glacian. I'm going to be saying the names very badly, so I do apologize. As for the Herald of Ice, the support gems will be the Magnified Effect, Cold Infusion, and Cold Penetration. The fourth one, if you do have, you can use Cold Mastery. Another very good additional skill to have will be Emergency Reload. This is a buff where as you're about to run out of your bolts, you can press this button and it instantly reloads your bolts and it gives you a bunch more damage. As for the supports, we use Premeditation, Persistence, and you'll be using Ingenuity. I cannot pronounce names. Reported to Blizzard. When you do get 90 spirit, you can then put on Herald of Ash, which is additional fire explosions when you do overkill enemies. So it creates a lot of area effect fire explosions. A very important skill to put on, I would say, before you allocate Herald of Ash, you get Wind Dancer when you have 90 spirit. This gives a lot more evasion per stage. If you do have any gem cutters to upgrade and get the quality up, try and get it to 20% at least, because you get an additional stage of evade. As for the support gems, I'll be using Blind, Maim, and Culling Strike. I just have on there. I don't think it really does anything, but it's there just to be there. So I want to just give a little showcase about how my rotation is. As I say, I'm using 2 skills, which is your explosive shot, which is 1, and your shock burst rounds, which is your 2nd skill, only when you got the single target or the boss. Generally, when you're just playing on your mapping early game or in the campaign, you're using 1 button, which is just to obviously use your explosive rounds, and there you carry on. 1 shot and you're carrying on with your life. There, you don't worry, and it clears the map very nicely. Again, you are not invulnerable, you can die, ask me. But see, he has an elite, he's shocked there. You see the 23% on him now? He is shocked, and then that's where you'll go over to your shock burst rounds and absolutely annihilate him. That's just a little showcase about how that shock is. I do hope, I don't have any editing skills to zoom in on that, but I do hope you could have seen the little shock icon on the enemy. Especially on that same note, guys, I'm a little baby live streamer dude, just trying to do my passion. I'm having a very blast of a time with everyone that gives me a chance. The live streams we do is so much fun. We've had a lot of blasts with everyone that's joined me. I'm very grateful for everyone that is here. So yeah, if you guys are around and you maybe would want to give a small dude a chance, hey, I do live stream and I love chatting. So come pop by the live streams, come say hello, come give me tips, because I've still got so much to learn. I look forward to meeting anyone that wants to come around. Let's chat, let's have fun, and everyone must just blast and have a great time. Thanks, guys. I really appreciate it. Okay, so over to our passive skill tree. Of course, we will be using the Deadeye Ascendancy. So your first ascendancy that you will be going for, I would recommend going for Gathering Winds to get Tailwind. Now, Tailwind is a very good buff to have. It's automatic when you're just playing the game attacking. You do get a stacking buff, which gives you movement speed, skill speed, and then increased evasion for 10 seconds, and it refreshes every time you attack. This is especially helpful in the campaign to go for your first ascendancy 2 points. Now, when you do get your next ascendancy, the second ascendancy, then I would say refund this 2 skill points right here. And then you're going to have 4 skill points, which you'll then be using to go to Point Blank. And then, of course, you go all the way to Endless Munitions, which now your skills will fire an additional projectile. This is effectively double damage, and it's very early. You can get your second ascendancy complete early in the campaign, and the quality of life you're going to have with especially explosive rounds with scatter shot, which is already firing additional projectiles, your clear speed will just be better. You're going to have a lot more fun seeing these explosions, and it's very satisfying to have. If you are struggling to do the third ascendancy, guys, we have actually recently been doing community ascendancy runs, which has been super fun. So a couple of awesome legends and my friends I've helped them get their third ascendancy. We do it together. You guys put in your key. I will help you guys choose which choices, whether it's on the Sekmas or on the Chaos Trial. We do it together. I help you guys as best as I can. If you are struggling and we get you your third ascendancy, at some point I would like to do that for the fourth ascendancy, but I'm not strong enough just yet. But that is the plan in the future. We're gonna do the fourth ascendancy, and we will do it for the community as well. Now over to our skill tree, which I'm going to speak about, especially for the more early game version, so that you can maximize the amount of damage you are able to dish out. It's going to be very easy to follow this. I'm going to put the link of the max roll build guide here, which I am pretty much using anyway. This I'm not taking no credit for. This is just more of a showcase, and I did do a little bit of my own thing, but not significant where I can say this is a Skinner build. Nope. All credit to max roll, guys. Now for the early game, what I do strongly suggest is you beeline your way to escape velocity. From here, you continue and you go up past the jewel socket and you go towards the falcon technique so that you can get more attack speed per 15 dexterity. This will start to scale quite significantly as you increase your dexterity. From here, we beeline and you get proficiency, which gives you 25 dexterity. You go to the top for enhanced reflexes, and then you beeline your way straight to your heralds, which is coming calamity. This is very, very important because we're going to be using all 3 heralds. Once you've completed that, and you beeline your way straight down all the way to instant reload. This is especially important so that you can reload your crossbow much quicker, especially for explosive shot, which only has 1 bolt at a time. From here, we go Force of Nature. This is very good. All your damage is going to penetrate 15% elemental resistance, it's very, very good to have. So once we have gotten Flash Storm, we go down to all these all stats, and you beeline your way all the way towards this authority nodes. This is especially good to have for your early game clearing with explosive shots. Now currently, if you have good all-round stats, and when I say all-round stats, it is high strength, high dexterity, and high intelligence, then going for these nodes here, where this nice star is very good. The reason being, it is the Jack of all trades increases your damage by 2% for every 5 of your lowest attribute. So my lowest attribute currently is my intelligence, which is 129. So obviously I'm getting a lot of damage bonus just by having good stats. So getting all types of stats on your gear is very helpful. So over to the weapon swap. So you can have 2 weapons equipped, which you can assign a skill to use whichever weapon you want it to use. So if I want shock burst rounds to use weapon number 2, which it is there, then shock burst round will only use this weapon and get the bonuses of that weapon. Explosive shot will then only use weapon slot number 1, for example. So explosive shot gets scaled by that only. So on the skill tree, you will also get weapon set points that you are allowed to assign. Now, currently, I have 22 weapon set points that I can assign, and that is on the top right that you can see there, and I have allocated 11. So 11 for both weapon skill sets. The green nodes, it is for weapon set 2, and any red nodes will be weapon set 1. So this means that weapon set 1, like my explosive shots, will only be using these nodes. And when I use the shock burst rounds will not take this into consideration, which means I can allocate skill points for both bonuses for whichever I may need. So as I say, I don't need area of effect damage and stuff for my shock burst rounds, but I rather need more shock damage, which is here, elemental shock damage, which I use there. And then of course, all these elemental damages here is only applying to my shock burst rounds, which does nothing for my explosive rounds. Now, how do we do this? So what I'm going to do is I will refund these 3 points here. You need to have skill points available. So as you can see, I currently have 3 skill points. So now you will then go onto and allocate. I don't know how it is on PC, it pretty much will be the same, but on console, I'm holding in my X for PlayStation, most likely for Xbox, it will be your A, and then I can allocate it to whichever weapon skill set I need it for. So obviously, anything elemental on this, I need it for my shock burst rounds, which is the green. So I will allocate you, and I got 3 points to do. So now I can allocate 3 points there. As you can see, there the 3 points has been allocated. So I'm done and dusted. But now, as you see on my weapon set, I have 8 for weapon set 2, and 11 for weapon set 1. So I do still have skill points that I need to allocate for my weapon set 1, which then I will highlight this, highlight that, and because they have to be the same. It's got to be 3-3 all the time. And there I put them in. So this one is now allocated the exact same amount of points. So I have 8 points left that I can still utilize if you want to. Remember, as I say, this will only count for each respective skill, which is very, very, very good to have when you're able to theorycraft to maximize your damage. So I do hope that does kind of make sense. take that with a grain of salt. I don't think I'm that good at explaining, but hopefully that does make sense, my legends. It's very fun to play. I strongly recommend you give this a go. It's very beginner friendly. So yeah, guys, I hope this is short and sweet, not too long. Pretty much simple. I do hope I catch anyone around. You be blessed and Skinner out.
And like and subscribe.